DeSantis has created a law that allows him to run for president without having to resign being governor of Florida. There's also some other things in this bill that the press has missed. So let's get to it. Let's put him up full mass. There he is. That's your guy. Echoing, he is in fact going to announce he will run for president of the United States, but he doesn't believe in you. I'm talking to Republicans, because he will only do it if his state can guarantee that he has a job if you don't believe in him. Republican Governor Ron DeSantis would not have to resign as Florida governor in order to run for president if he chooses under a bill given final approval Friday by the GOP-dominated state legislature. So let me explain what this bill does. The measure, attached to a much broader elections bill, would carve out an exemption for the Florida governor. It would carve out an exemption to the law, requiring anyone seeking office to resign from one they already hold after qualifying as a candidate. Only an office holder running for US president or vice president would not have to resign under this new law. Supporters portrayed the bill as purely a clarification and not intended specifically for DeSantis, who has not yet announced the presidential bid, but is widely expected to declare his candidacy for the nomination in a few weeks. The bill passed the state house 76-34 along party lines and now goes to who? DeSantis for a final signature. Now, let's talk about what really is happening here. Now, we can sit back, point fingers and say that is unethical. That should not be possible. Why is he violating the law? He's not. He's not, okay? This is actually the legislative process. Does it violate the spirit and the reason you have a democracy in the first place? Yes, it does. There are technical and essence violations all over the place as it relates to politics and law. But his people are backing him. You see, that's the thing right there. They don't all agree with him all the time. They don't always support every bill he supports, but they're backing him on his major plays. Why is DeSantis so effective? That's the reason. He's backed on major plays. Look at it, vote for vote. Republicans don't always agree with DeSantis, but on the big items that he says make or break his relationship with them, they side with him. Once again, Republicans are playing chess. Democrats will play checkers. Chess is a game of strategy, not simply reaction. This is a strategic move. Once again, another one from Governor DeSantis. There's more. Among other things, now this is the part that the media has underreported. The bill would actually tighten limits and increase fines for third-party voter registration organizations. That's mama them. Those are churches, nonprofit organizations, etc. Impose more restrictions on mail ballots and shift responsibility for determining if a voter is eligible from the state to the individual. Democrats contended the bill is another step to suppress votes of minorities and economically disadvantaged people to benefit Republicans who are already dominant state government and Florida federal offices. They already hold them. That's correct. The Democrats in Florida are right. So 90% of the media has been about how the law allows the governor to run for president. But the most dangerous parts of the bill actually deal with, once again, taking freedoms away from people who care about open democracy. That's the part that should be the headline, but it is not, and it won't be, because he's strategic enough to plant it inside of a bill that he knows good and damn well. The media given a choice, they don't talk about both, they would talk about one. And the one they would talk about is the fact that it gives him the authority to run for president, the potential to run for president without resigning as governor. Well, hell, that's really not news because many states already allow that, okay? They got it passed with a legislative process as well. But you know what? The people in Florida who are now even more restricted, who now come under more severe penalty, because remember, when they create a restriction, they enforce it. So if a nonprofit or a church operates outside of the new framework, they can be fined civilly or they can be arrested criminally. That's what this does. There's more. The new Washington Post, remember, ABC poll released Sunday, has Biden at a whopping 36% approval rating. It's the worst in the history of the poll. His disapproval at 56%, slightly below the previous low of 37%, a difference well within the margin of error. So let's talk about the reality of the numbers of Biden. Biden, in a head-to-head matchup for the first time, actually is defeated by Donald Trump in this same poll. DeSantis always has polled higher than Biden nationally. Look at the numbers, look at the crosstabs of the data. It shows that every single category, Biden is losing ground. From white males, white females, our brothers and sisters in the LGBTQ community, African-American votes, Black-Brown coalition, the list goes on and on. Every single demographic is lower. In order for a Democrat to become president, that Democrat needs a coalition. Once you have the nomination, you're talking about 7 points. 7 points. No matter what happens, you can be the worst candidate on the planet. If you have the nomination from either the Democratic Party or the Republican Party, you're fighting over 7 damn percentage points. That's it. The companies known as the Republican Party and the Democratic Party, they get you the rest. But you got to get that 7% because no president has lost outside of the margin of 7% in this country. So what are we going to do? We have a system that forces us to make a decision based on election and not selection, which means our candidate, the person that we think would best serve us, likely not in the running. All right, Sharon, thoughts here?
Boy, you said a lot, Doc. Dr. Richey, you said a whole lot. Number one, we can't win, it sounds like, with an as run. People want to be energized and it's not happening here. They are energized by that guy down in Florida, apparently, who has just pulled off another okey doke. That's what it is. It's an okey doke. And I don't know what we're going to do from here, but won't be much time left to do it.
Yeah, well, decision time is coming. I do want to remind everyone, polls are not predictions, but they are snapshots. It gives you an idea of how people are currently thinking. That's important too, because if a course needs to be adjusted, a poll is a good way to provide indication of it, all right?